Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to everyone. Thank you very much for watching another video for ELC151. And today we are going to take a look at about personal reading log or PRL. Okay, so as you know, PRL is going to be conducted in week 6 and week 9. Okay, so for PRL assessment, there are going to be two sets of PRL. The first one, week 6, is 10%, and another one is going to be on week 9, that is another 10%. So altogether, for PRL 1 and PRL 2, it is 20%. And the platform that I am going to use for PRL is Google Classroom. Okay, so I'm sure that all of you are familiar with how to use Google Classroom at this point. Alright, now let's take a look at what is PRL. Okay, so PRL stands for Personal Reading Log. So what is the reading log? Your logs are an effective way to keep a record of your reading responses to the short stories that you have selected, positive or negative. So you will be given a set of short story, and then you have to read the short story, and then you have to respond to it. You have to give your opinion related to the short story. Okay, it offers you a chance to respond personally, to ask questions, wonder, predict, or reflect on the plot, setting, characters, events, themes, or language of the text. Typically, you should complete reading the selected story before you write your commentary. Okay, so before we complete or before we actually do PRL in week 6, I am going to give you about a week for you to read the whole short story. Okay, so how long should your commentary be? After you have read the short story, then you have to write an entry of your opinion between 200 to 250 words. Okay, so I'm going to give you a question related to the short story that you have read, and then you have to give an answer to that question. And the length of your writing must be between 200 to 250 words. What is important is that you respond insightfully to the given task, providing specific text details. So what you have to do is that you have to give an insightful response to the questions. Now let's take a look at what should you be writing about. First of all, for 200 to 250 words, do not summarize what has happened in the story. I have read the story. I know you have read the story as well. So I know how the story went, and also you also know about it. So there is no point in writing the summary of the short story. Instead, you record your responses to the short story. Some of the tasks may require that you do the following. Do you have questions about what has happened? What about the characters? Are they believable? Is there something about the story that makes you feel a certain way? Happy, sad, anxious, or even embarrassed? How do you feel about a character's actions? What predictions do you have? What confuses you in the reading? What questions would you ask the character or author about this? On a scale of 1 low and 5 high, how would you rate this text and why? Okay, so if you do not have any idea about what you should write, other than, obviously, I've already told you I am going to give you a question, but these are some of the things that you should consider or you should think about as you read the short story. What about the characters? Are they believable? Is there anything? Do you have any question about what happened? Is there anything that makes you feel sad, happy, embarrassed, anxious? Okay, do you agree with the character's action? what are anything that confuses you in the reading. So these are the things that you need to think of as you read the short story, right? Okay, what do you do if you do not know what to write? It can be difficult for some people to write what are they thinking about the short story. So here are some examples of some things that can help you with your entry. You may use one of the following lines if it applies to what you have noticed in your reading. Okay, you can start by this phrase, I was impressed by, I noticed that, I wonder about, this reminds me of, I never thought, this part of the story makes me feel, or you can start by, I predict. Alright? Okay, moving on. What is the right response? So if you are wondering, each short story you read will be different, and each person who reads it will have a different response. So this is actually normal. Like when we watch a movie, when you watch a movie together with your family members or even together with your friends, each one of you are going to have different opinion about the movie, how the storylines, some might even like it, some might not like it. Okay, so it's totally normal. So what is important is that you have an opinion about what you have watched, about the story that you have watched or about the story that you have read. You need to have an opinion. You need to have an opinion, obviously. And its purpose is not to test your knowledge, but allow you to reflect on your reading through writing. So after you have read the story, you need to reflect. Use all of the questions in the previous slides on how to guide your reflection. Sometimes you may notice that others will write about the same thing, but most times they will not. Since we all have different experience, we all react to the short story in our own unique way. So overall, in short, your response will never be marked right or wrong. Okay, so there is no right or wrong answer. It's just that some of you will be getting higher marks as compared to the others. So why are some of you get high marks and some of you will get low marks? We are going to take a look at later how marks is going to be given. Okay, is your commentaries private or should it be a secret? No, actually, your commentary is not your personal diary. You can actually share your reading log to the rest of your friends or your classmates. You can actually discuss on the ideas as well. However, okay, your writing must be your own. Okay, so your classmates will be permitted to read or hear your response. After you have read or heard the ideas of others, you may change your mind or you may want to add to the original ideas in your commentary. So think of your log as an ongoing written conversation with yourself that others will occasionally read or listen to. This will provide you with the opportunity to confirm, clarify, and modify your response. So remember, in answering PRL, once you have gotten the questions, it's okay for you to discuss with your friends to get ideas and to listen to their opinion about the short story that you have read. However, your writing must be your own. Okay, so you cannot copy from anybody. So I've had cases before this whereby students submitted to me the exact same thing from person A and person B, between person A and person B, it's the exact same thing. So both of them got 0 marks for that assessment. So 10% for PRL is it's very big. It's a huge number, okay, and it will affect your CGPA at the end later. Okay, so next thing to consider in PRL, what about the grammar and spelling? So my advice would be is to always do your best. The most important thing is to get your thoughts and responses to a text documented. Okay, so this is the purpose of PRL. So you read the short story, you try to ask questions to yourself as you read the story, and then read my question and try to answer the question by reflecting. And make sure your entries are complete and coherent, which means that there's a flow from the first point until the end of your commentary. Okay? Alright, moving on. Okay, so when do you complete or you submit your commentary? As I told you, I'm going to use Google Classroom, and I will explain to you later step by step how to submit your commentary in Google Classroom. Okay? My logs worth marks. Obviously, you will be evaluated on the quality of your work and the thoughtfulness of your writing. It's not about the length, okay? It's not about the numbers of words. It's not about the longer your essay, the better marks you will get. That is wrong, okay? Don't have that kind. Make sure that you don't have that kind of idea. Your ideas and responses will not be judged right or wrong. Okay, remember. So as long as you submit your work, it doesn't matter whether it's a long one, as long as you stick to the word limit. The writing must be your own. The ideas could be discussed together with you and your friends, but the writing must be your own, and obviously you're not going to get 0 marks. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to explain to you right now how your PRL is going to be graded. If you want to get between 9 to 10 marks, the responses must be very insightful, showing excellent comprehension of the reading. All responses refer to specific text details. Okay, it's not impossible for students to get between 9 to 10 marks. That is, it happens. Okay, but probably not as much as marks between 7 to 8 to 7 marks, where responses are adequately insightful, showing adequate comprehension of the reading. Numerous responses refer to specific text details. So you have to show the insightfulness. You have to show your deep understanding towards the story that you have read. If you wanted to get between 6 to 5 marks, your response seldom show insightful. It shows below average comprehension of the reading, meaning that you don't really understand what is happening in the story, so it's below average. If your understanding is above average, then there is no problem for you to get between 7 to 8 marks. Several responses are vague, refer to few details. Okay, so this is quite common for some students, and these marks are very rare for students to get at this area between 4 to 3 and also 2 to 1. Okay, responses often no insight, did not demonstrate comprehension, don't refer to specific details. Okay, so this may happen when some students actually submit their work. However, it shows that they do not understand or they have a different understanding of the story. So what we call out of topic or misunderstanding of what is happening in the story. And 1 to 2 marks responses show no indication of having reading the material at all. Shows that you do not read the short story at all. It's incomplete, and responses is not complete. So still you can get between 1 or 2 marks. Okay, so your target obviously at this area, okay, the area that we all like. Alright, so this is the target area that we want to achieve. Okay, alright, that is the end of the introduction for PRL. If you have anything to ask related to the PRL, you can ask me, you can PM me, obviously. Now we are going to go to do some practice. Okay, so you may pause this video as you go and read PRL practice, that is Kelly by Zuraidah Omar. So go and look for the short story entitled Kelly, written by Zuraidah Omar, and then after you have read the short story, you may continue with the video, as later we are going to discuss some of the questions and how to answer these questions, okay? But before we take a look at the questions and also how to learn in answering the questions, I need you to go and read Kelly for a while, okay? It's not long, it's only 4 pages of short story. So please pause the video and go read Kelly, okay? Okay, hi, welcome back. Now that you have read Kelly, I think that most of you have mixed feelings about it. You have different opinions, and also there's a different feelings that you are experiencing right now. That is totally normal, as you know that at the beginning of the story actually involves around a relationship between a female, okay, between a woman and also Kelly. So at first, some of us, most of us actually, will think that Kelly is actually about a relationship between um, a woman and also a man, a romantic relationship. However, at the end of the story, you will realize that Kelly is actually a horse. So it actually revolves around a group of people talking about horse, as that is their interest. Okay, so they like to play with horse, and that's why they go to the clubhouse. Okay, all right. Now let's take a look at the question about the short story Kelly. And as you look at the question, try to answer it by yourself. All right. Now let's take a look at the first question. Okay, question 1. What did you think of Kelly before the writer revealed who Kelly was at the end of the story? Now, share your opinion. Share how do you feel. What do you think of Kelly before you read at the end of the story that Kelly is actually a horse? What do you think of Kelly actually? So describe Kelly. Okay, give all of the description, give all of the adjectives that you can use to describe what do you think of Kelly. Okay, so that is question 1. Now let's take a look at question 2. In 2 paragraphs, write what you like about the story and what you do not like about the story, and you must support your ideas with details taken from the short story. So what is it that you like about the story? Is it about the character? Is it about Kelly itself, or is it about Ella? Is it about Sue? Okay, there's so many other characters in there. So, or do you like the ending, or do you dislike the ending? Okay, what is it that you like? It could be the character. It could be the words that the author used, or it could be about the plot of the story. Okay, so write your response about what do you like and what are the things that you don't like about the story. Okay, so that is for question number 2. Now let's take a look at question number 3. Okay, so for question number 3, if you were the writer of this story, how would you end the story and why? This is a very interesting question. Okay, a lot of students would love to have this question as their PRL question. However, I don't really favor this type of question because it could lead the students to, talk about everything under the sun, anything, they can just go on and on about how they would end the story, isn't it? Okay? Alright, so those are the 3 questions about the short story, Kelly. And remember, these are the sample of the questions that will be asked. Obviously, for your real PRL, you are going to be given 1 short story and 1 question related to the story. Okay? Okay, now let's take a look at the response. Okay, question number 1, just now, what do you think of Kelly before the writer revealed who Kelly was at the end of the story? Okay, so this is not enough. You have to write more than this, about 200 to 250 words. In the beginning, I personally thought that Kelly was a man with good traits. the sort a girl dreams of. The writer described Kelly in many forms, such as she was mesmerized by his looks and the dignity with which he carried himself. So this is what it means by having details. This is what we call details from the short story. Okay. The writer describes, so these are the supporting details. So as you answer, this is the answer, was a man with a good traits. Okay. And these are the supporting details. So the supporting details must be taken from the short story. It cannot come from your own opinion. Your own opinion, for example, you answer, Kelly was a man with good traits. You thought Kelly was a man with good traits. And then the supporting details, you provide details such as, because a good man usually described as a man with good manner, tall and handsome, with good hair. Okay, so that is your own opinion. What you need to do is that you need to support your idea or your answer by using details taken from the short story. Okay, so the rest you can read. There's another reason for me to fall into the false description of Kelly is when Ella and the writer went to Kelly's mother for a relationship approval. So this is what makes the author here, or this student here, think that Kelly is a man. However, my thought of Kelly as a man completely vanished when the writer revealed that Kelly was just a riding horse. Okay, so that is how you can answer question number 1. Now let's take a look at question number 2. Okay, in 2 columns, write what you like about the story and what you did not like about the story. In my opinion, I like the way the writer introduced the character Kelly. Okay, the way the writer introduced the character Kelly. Okay, how? The writer personified the character by giving Kelly some human qualities such as good looker, good looking, and really tall. Okay, right? So these are some of the sample of the answers that you can actually use the details taken from the story and use it as your supporting details. That is what we call insightful. Okay, so what is it that you did not like about the story? The thing that I detest about the story is its ending. The writer has skillfully and flawlessly developed the characters to a point that allowed me to think that this story was a romantic love story. However, with the revelation of Kelly's character towards the end of the story, it changed entirely the romantic love mood and feeling that I developed in the beginning of the story. Okay, so that is just the person's opinion. You might have a different opinion, and remember, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just that the intensity or the insightfulness of your answer will determine how many marks you will be getting. And question 3, if you were the writer of the story, how would you end it? I would certainly end the character by having Kelly as a real character that is a man. Okay, so that is this person's opinion. So what about you? Alright, the reason starts with Sarah having fallen in love. These romantic scenes changed my mood of reading. In order to ensure the continuance of my romantic mood, I would end the story by making Kelly fall in love with Sarah at first sight. Then I can have both characters madly in love with each other before they start to embark their marriage journey. In other words, I would strongly make this story a love story rather than a story of a girl falling in love with a horse. Okay, so this ending will attract many adolescents like me to read this story. So I think this student is actually a girl. Usually, female students like to end a story like this one, whereas the male students, they tend to choose more creative and more adventurous action kind of ending. Okay, so far that is how PRL is like. I have shown you, so in this video, I have introduced to you what PRL is, personal reading log, the 2 PRL that we are going to take PRL 1 and PRL 2. Remember, each PRL is 10 marks, and for 2 PRLs, you are going to be getting 20 marks. Okay, so Kelly is just a sample, and later, as we before week 6, probably in week 5, I will start to give you the short story that is related to our PRL. Okay, so I think that is all for today. Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed Kelly, and I hope that you enjoy reading the other short stories too. And remember, the purpose of having a PRL is to actually encourage all of you to read more. Okay, and reading is actually a fun thing to do, and you should develop that habit of reading. Okay. All right. Okay. So thank you very much. Inshallah, I will be seeing you again in another video. All right. Thank you. Assalamualaikum and have a nice day.